Hi, I'm attorney at Berkman, host of The Common Law. The Common Law has been absent for a little while. We took a break over the holidays, and I've had some important life events come up. So today we're going to talk about what I've been up to. First and foremost, though, I'd like to wish you and all of your loved ones a Happy New Year. We are chugging along here in 2025, here being the first month of 2025, and I hope we all have a great, prosperous new year. Now, I started my legal career in real estate, and then I had ventured off into estate planning. The firm I was at when I started this show was DeRoches and Tierney, and they were out of Beverly, Massachusetts. I have since left that firm. I am now the managing attorney for Signature Escrow and Title, which is a title company out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Now, I can still help with all of your Massachusetts legal needs, and I can still answer any of your Massachusetts legal questions. However, with my background being focused mainly in real estate, I felt it was a good move for me to go back into the world of real estate and assist Signature Escrow and Title in the new year and beyond, and trying to really fortify their business there. It's a great market. I've always loved the city of Portsmouth. It's much similar to our city here in Newburyport. Again, happy to help with any Massachusetts legal matter. My email has changed, and you'll see it in the bottom of the screen here today. And again, that email is good to ask me any sort of question as it regards to Massachusetts law, and I can also assist with New Hampshire law, although I am not yet a New Hampshire attorney. Now, that being said, let's break down the main difference, I guess, between New Hampshire and Massachusetts in regards to real estate law. Massachusetts is what is known as an attorney state, which means an attorney is required to be at the closing. This doesn't matter if it's a closing that's considered like a cash closing, or one that's done through a lender like a mortgage company or a bank. Either one in Massachusetts requires an attorney to be present. More often than not, there is 3 attorneys in a real estate deal. An attorney that represents the lender, an attorney that represents the buyer, and an attorney that represents the seller. Now, in New Hampshire, it works a little differently. It is not considered an attorney state. That means that there doesn't have to be an attorney at the closing. Now, a buyer or a seller or a lender, although that being very rare, could have an attorney there at the closing and there to represent their interests, but that is not required. My opinion is it's always important to have an attorney represent you, no matter what state you're in. If you're in a real estate transaction or any sort of contractual obligation that you enter into. Although that might not be required in every state, my opinion is that you should have one that best suits your interests. Now, in New Hampshire, because there's no attorneys involved, these closings are done by a title company. In Massachusetts, the closings are pretty much handled by a law firm or an attorney at a larger title company. In New Hampshire, those are done by a title company. And that title company does essentially the same role as the lawyer would do in here, Massachusetts. They review a title search, which is basically a search of the history of the property. And what you're really looking for here is any sort of encumbrances or liens or any sort of title issues that may come up in the future. Now, the title company also offers what is known as title insurance. Title insurance is something we've gone over a few times here on the Common Law, and it is a product much like any other insurance that you purchase that protects you in the event of something bad happening. Now, the bad thing that would happen with title insurance would be there be some sort of a lien or an encumbrance on your property that you weren't aware of when you bought it, or and challenge to your ownership is also a potential situation where a title insurance policy would pay out. A lot of times that happens where there's an owner that's left off of a transferring deed, or it happens a lot with like deeds out of trust or an estate, where someone who owned the property wasn't listed, didn't sign off their right to the property on that conveyancing deed, and thus they still own an interest in that property, and they come, sort of out of the woodwork and either sue you or file an ownership claim against that property. That's very rare. I don't want to scare anybody out there. It's super rare. But it does happen occasionally. Now, title insurance is something you normally pay for when you purchase the property. If you purchase it with a mortgage, you are going to be required to have a title insurance policy that at least covers the amount of the mortgage. I would always encourage anybody who's purchasing a property to buy not only that policy, but to buy the owner's policy, which guarantees the full value of the property. The great thing about title insurance is you pay it once, and as your equity grows in the property, so does your insurance coverage, and that doesn't cost you anything extra. So that's kind of a great piece about the title insurance, is that your level of protection increases over time, especially if you have a mortgage where you're paying that balance off. Your equity increases, as does your title insurance protection. Now, if you have any questions on if title insurance or anything like that, please reach out, let me know. Again, regardless if your house is here in Newburyport, in Massachusetts, or in New Hampshire, I'd be more than happy to take a look at that for you. A lot of times people don't know if they have title insurance. And so I've always offered this for free for any of my clients, and that would just be a search to see if you do have one or not. I may need to ask for some documentation that you had from your closing, but I'd be more than happy to look into that for you. Again, my email is down below here. Feel free to reach out to me if you would, have a question on that. So that's about it. That's my big change, my big news for the year. Again, I apologize. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. I have a 2-year-old who this was his second Christmas. Absolutely loved it. He knew what Santa Claus was for the first time, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, that was a great holiday season for me. I hope you had one as well. Now, as we go forward with the common law, we are going to continue to have our guests and interview them down the road. Have a lot of really exciting guests I'm excited to share with you in the coming year. Now, yeah, it's going to be a good year, everybody. And before I forget, the same rules apply. Although I am an attorney, I am not your attorney. So anything you hear from me on the common law, or anything you hear from any of my guests on this program, just know that this is purely conversational. It's a form of education and entertainment. It is not to be construed as legal advice. Even if your legal situation feels like it's directly related to what we are talking about, I promise you it is not. The devil is in the details. However slight those details may be. And so if you have a question that relates to the law, please reach out to an attorney. Do not take what I am saying as legal advice to your situation or legal advice to any situation. It is not intended for that at all, this program. Again, purely educational, and I hope a little entertaining. Again, without further ado, I will see you next time on The Common Law. And again, Happy New Year.